damn, the men who I want are now looking at girls younger than me that I can't compete with because time is out of my control. I can't rewind the clock. How do I fix this? What's the solution? Let's shame them. Habibi, before you enjoy this video, do your boy a solid. I've got a goal to hit 7,500 subscribers by the end of June. So like the video and subscribe the channel.
Now, what does a 28-year-old have in common with a 19-year-old? What do you guys talk about? And I also wonder how you guys met, because why is a almost 30-year-old man hanging out with teenagers? You know, that's weird.
You know, there's a lot that could be said about this video. And we could dissect this and go through the logical arguments as to why she is so off the mark. We could do all of that. And I might even do a bit of that, to be honest with you. But first, gentlemen, and I'm speaking to you specifically now, I want you to pay attention to the number one tactic that is being employed here. Before I explain to you why she is saying what she is saying or why she feels the way she feels, and I'm pretty sure she is not even cognizant of why this is an infuriating point for her in the first place. But I want you to appreciate and acknowledge the tactic she is using. Instead of trying to explain with, you know, rationale or logic and so on as to why she believes that this is not a good match, a good fit, a mid-20s to late 20s man with a teenager, which by the way is only 5-6 years apart if it's mid-20s, right? Instead of doing that, she resorts to shaming tactics. Shaming. That's weird. I'm sorry, that's about as good as my American accent gets. That's weird. You're weird for wanting to get with a girl who is 5 to 9 years younger than yourself. And whenever a woman tries to draw you into an argument whereby she is shaming you, you must recognize that she is dragging you down to her level, and then she will beat you with experience. Because now you're playing on her game, on her terms. Now you're playing in her world. And this is a classic tool employed by women because they know on some level of consciousness that it tickles the pride of a man. It tickles his competitive edge, or his competitive nature, I should say. And for her to insinuate that he should be ashamed of something is to call his masculinity into question. It's to call his masculinity into question. And oftentimes they are so effective at shaming you, and that you do genuinely feel so ashamed, or the feelings that she has managed to arouse in you of shame are so strong that you won't even try to consider whether what she is saying actually carries any weight or not. Because us as men, we're very concerned about our reputation, about our standing, about our status, about our masculinity. When you call a man's masculinity and manhood into question, a lot of the times, I should say, a man who is not sure of himself or where he stands or his opinions and beliefs, and he's not sturdy in that, he will bend. And this is what's going on here. So she's employing a shaming tactic. The logic and the reason is secondary to the shaming. Okay, that's the first point. The second point, though, is that we can actually talk about this. This girl, she looks like, I have a feeling she's in her mid-20s. And she's an average-looking sister, but if she pairs up now, I'm sure she could find herself a pretty decent man. However, having gone through a few of her other videos on her feed, I very much doubt that she's looking to get married anytime soon. And she's very, very lefty-lefty. Extremely lefty-lefty. And let's just keep it at that. Why is this such an infuriating point for women? Usually women who are older than her as well, women who are in their mid to late 30s, are the ones who are criticizing men in their age bracket for choosing women that are not age appropriate. You see, age appropriate for a woman is to marry a man who is in and around her age bracket, or to pair up with a man, whether it's marriage or not, who is in and around her age bracket. However, age appropriate for a man is the same. If you have a look at the results on Tinder, men between the ages of 20 to 65 all swipe right on the same demographic of women, roughly 21 to 23-year-olds. Because that is what men look for primarily. Youth, beauty, fertility, and all the other benefits that come with a young woman as well. A young woman is more malleable. A young woman is easier to lead. She is easier to mentor. She's more coachable. As a woman gets older, like clay, she hardens. And for that matter, that is not exclusive to women. That is men and women alike. We harden. But ironically and paradoxically, this is something that women look for as a positive in a man. She wants to pair up with a man who is sure of himself, who has his head screwed on, who knows which direction he is going. And the only way to be able to know that, or to have that type of self-confidence in where you're going, is through hardening. Ever so slightly. Doesn't mean that you become rigid to the point where you're not open to any new ideas or anything like this. But you need to have a certain level of conviction in the direction that you are going. You are the leader. That's what women look for, leaders. Men look for women who will follow with ease, followers. And to the ladies who are getting triggered, I say to you, if you are looking for a leader, what do you think a leader's looking for? Another leader? Well, if he is building an organization whereby he wants a number of leaders so that they can go off and lead their own troops, of course you want many leaders in your organization. However, if I have to lead you, I am looking for someone who will follow with ease. If you are under my direct tutelage, then I am looking for someone who will be easily led. And I speak for all men when we say that. We want a woman who is easily led. Lo and behold, the women who are most easily led are those who are young. Those who are not damaged by life experiences. This is another point. Women become damaged through life experiences, particularly failed relationships. AbuAmerican has a brilliant saying. He says, men are like muscle and women are like skin. And what he means by that is when a muscle is damaged through training, it heals and grows back stronger. Men must go through hardship and difficulty and damage in order to strengthen, in order to become the man to reach their peak potential as a man. He has to go through that. Women, on the other hand, are like skin. The moment you damage skin, you get a stretch mark, or you get a scar, or some type of irreversible damage. They are not built for being torn in the same way a muscle is, or in the same way that men are. And younger women are less damaged. However, what's the existential fear here now, particularly amongst older women? Well, older women, all women for that matter, but especially older women who they are past their prime sexual market value, they become all too aware of the fact that they are now unable to compete with the other women in the same way that they were once able to, because the men are now paying attention to the younger girls. So how can we overcome that? Well, we can shame men. We can tell them, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you dating or marrying age-appropriate women? Let me tell you something. Age-appropriate is 10 to 15 years apart. Aristotle would tell you that age-appropriate is 18 to 19 years apart. 18 to 19 years. That a woman should be around the age of 17 or 18, and a man around the age of 7 and 30, 37 years old. Because we're on different timelines. We might be the same age biologically, but from a maturation perspective, we're on different timelines. Everybody knows men take longer to mature than women. But the flip side to that same coin is that men have a higher potential of maturation than women do. So women mature faster, but men mature to a greater degree, and that's why it takes longer. But women like this want to be able to enjoy themselves in their teens and 20s, and then get to around late 20s, early 30s when they've had their fun, when they've had their hot girl summer. And I'm not saying this sister's having a hot girl summer. I'm just speaking in broad terms now. They've had their fun, and now they want to settle down. All of a sudden, she realizes she's got 3 or 4 years until she hits geriatric pregnancy, 35 years old. She realizes, damn, the men who I want are now looking at girls younger than me that I can't compete with because time is out of my control. I can't rewind the clock. How do I fix this? What's the solution? Let's shame them. Let's shame men into marrying us. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to find ourselves the type of man that we want, because we've wasted our best years. So gentlemen, don't take the bait.